Hey, beautiful people, this is Samson. We're going to talk about how much free money costs and some other things you need to know about ICOs, our initial coin offerings. If you want, you can follow me on Twitter or at Axes and Eggs or at Hustle Fund Baby. So, how much does free money cost? I made a quick video because I got tired of yelling at people about this. You'll actually be able to access this link. I'm going to share this with you guys. But it's just a quick, dirty matrix of estimated cost for ICOs versus Reg CF versus Reg A versus Reg D. Is this exact? No, but it's going to give you a really good idea of how much it costs. So we're actually only going to focus on the ICO bucket because that's what everybody seems to be asking me the most questions about. So business incorporation, zero. We're going to say ICOs cost zero to incorporate your business because hey, it's a whole decentralized work for free volunteer for 6 to 9 months. That shit doesn't really ever happen. But some people like to think that. So we put moving on to legal. In the legal bucket, we put zero because again, you're not doing anything in a regulated fashion. So what would you need a lawyer for? Minus when you get a love letter from the SEC and they say, "Hey, this is a subpoena. Come talk to us." Um, you're going to spend a lot of money on marketing. So you're actually going to probably spend a little bit more than this on marketing, only because with the end of net neutrality, with Facebook, with Twitter, with Google banning ICO ads, you're actually going to spend a lot more money on marketing. But this is a good idea of, hey, I should have a budget for marketing. ICOs don't have broker dealers, so congratulations, it doesn't cost you anything. But ICOs do have exchange listings. So if you think your token or coin is going to be listed on an exchange, that shit is not cheap nor is it free. So think about that. Coming back up here to your MVP or for product development, and MVP stands for minimal viable product. So just keep in mind, last year you could probably do it with just a white paper. Hey, I have an idea, fund my research and development. This year in 2018, you're going to need an actual product. And that's actually expensive. Rather, it just costs because you have to pay people for their time, effort, and energy, unless, of course, you can get people to volunteer. But let me tell you, you can't fire volunteers, nor can you hold them accountable. So that 3 to 6 month period of volunteering might turn into infinity and beyond. Project management. Project management is pretty consistent across the board because keep in mind an ICO is part of a fundraising phase. So whether you're doing a Reg CF, a Reg A, a Reg D, each of them involves project management. What would you project manage? Probably all of these things over here. Plus, if you have a community manager, that's another thing. So project management is pretty straightforward. And again, your project manager is super essential to the success of your project. They can literally make or break you. Advisors. ICOs have advisors. They range in cost. Some of them are 5 Bitcoin, some of them are more, some of them want a percentage of the raise. Just keep in mind if you have an advisor who requests a percentage of a raise and they're not a SEC registered broker dealer, you're going to get a love letter from the SEC. So just keep that in mind. You really don't have advisors for Reg CF. You might, but they're typically employees or staff or your board members. So it's a completely different ways. Influencers. This is actually pretty interesting. So again, in influencers, you want someone to do something for you. In the ICO world, you have these influencers. They go out and they advertise and they market for you. It's different from marketing because you're paying them specifically for their audience. Um, John McAfee from the McAfee antivirus, he charges $105,000 US dollars for a tweet or per tweet. So his actually costs a little bit more, 5 to 10 ETH. Just keep that in mind. You sort of have influencers in the Reg CF and Reg A world and Reg D world, but they don't actually work the same way because in the regulated space, you have to actually let people know or tell them this is a paid advertisement on behalf of I am a paid speaker or influencer. Whales. You don't really have whales in the Reg CF. And when I say Reg CF, I mean Title 3 of the Jobs Act, regulation crowdfunding. So you don't have whales in the regulated form because typically that's involved in pump and dump. But if you do have whales in the ICO space, you're going to give them a huge discount. And since they are investors, these whales, the first thing they do when they buy your tokens at a discount, the moment they get listed on an exchange, they have a liquidity event. That's a polite way to say they dump your coins. And so that's why you see your coin They bought in at 3 cents. It goes on exchange. It's listed at $1 the first day. They dump all their coins because they want to make money. That's the purpose of a whale. The purpose of a whale isn't to benefit your business. It's actually to make money off your coin or your token. Because if they were going to benefit your business, they'd actually be an equity investor. But it would require an ICO to actually give up equity in its business. So whales are sort of like girlfriends, as opposed whales are sort of like girlfriends. You guys can break up; they don't really give a fuck one way or the other. Actually, that's really sexist. So whales are sort of like boyfriends or girlfriends. If you break up, they have no obligation to you. Once they dump their tokens, they've made their money, so they're good. Your business might suffer, but again, they didn't invest in your business. They're pumping and dumping your coin. So that's the difference. And I apologize for saying whales are like girlfriends, because whales are like anybody you're dating, particularly men, because we are equally as trifling. Community managers, they're very similar across the board. Um, to your project managers. They engage with your community because ICOs are a different version of crowdfunding. As ICOs are crowdfunding 2.0 without all of those pesky regulations that provide investor protections. But you're still going to need to have someone who engages your Slack, your Telegram, your online groups, or just your community in general across the platforms. We already talked about exchange listing, so we'll skip that. Conferences. Why conferences? Well, you actually need to get out, shake hands, kiss babies, get votes, explain to people what your good service or product is. So whether you're doing an ICO or you're doing a Reg CF or a Reg A or Reg D, you still need to go to conferences. Airfare, hotel, desk. It actually can get very expensive. Code audit. So it depends. Someone's going to want to audit your code if you're issuing an ICO because, again, you're going to need an MVP. Remember this, you're going to need an MVP. So when people look at your code, you should plan to spend a little bit of money on that. If your code is all fucked up, it's going to take longer. So that's why it depends on what the cost is. In the Reg CF world, you might not be a blockchain based business. You might be a taco shop or, some other type of business that's not blockchain related. So you might not actually have code. You might have a business plan. Last but not least, or rather, we're going to talk about staff and employees. In the ICO space, people are like, oh, come volunteer. Yeah, actually doesn't work because volunteers need to pay rent, buy coffee, and just go places. So, and it's really hard to hold a volunteer accountable for anything. They miss meetings, they don't show up, and people are like, oh, but Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is awesome, but Bitcoin is a 9-year open source experiment whose success is largely contingent on a very large community adopting it. That large community came courtesy of Silk Roads and Mount Gox. And so, yeah, unless your good or token is going to start selling illegal drugs, arms, and other contraband, probably not going to have that volunteer force or labor that you need. So you should anticipate paying some employees. Because again, you can't fire people who are volunteering, nor can you hold them accountable. So again, this is just a quick review of some of the basic costs that are involved. There's a ton more, not a ton more, but there are a few more that are nuanced, but I'm not going to give you everything. But you can check it out. I'm going to share this link below in the I'm going to share this link with you on this video. And if you have a question, of course, you can always email me at Samson Williams or Samson at axesandeggs.com. I hope you find this helpful and beneficial. And for all the people who always ask, well, why does it cost X? Well, I'm going to share this video with you so you can bring yourself up to speed. So that's about it. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email. Have a great day.